A Minor Variation by Not Murphy. Chapter 24. For Want of a War, Epsilon. She climbed the last rung, pausing to maintain her balance. More difficult without, don't think about it, don't think about the problem and the solution. Both forearms on the top, she moved her right hind leg on the top of the ladder, experiencing a moment of vertigo. Right, maze. Some boys use that old stick the left hook side method. Doesn't work in a maze where the walls aren't all contiguous. Now she raised her left hind leg into the air, bending deeply at the knee, and brought it down on the top shelf. I say, why accept the rules presented to you. Rainbow Dash allowed herself a smirk of satisfaction as they surveyed the library from the top of her bookshelf perch. A moment later, she caught a glimpse of orange and yellow as her Earth Pony friend climbed another stack some distance away. That's funny. Why do I feel jealous all of a sudden? Not important. The two of us should have an easier time getting every pony back together. Dash waved as vigorously as she could without threatening her balance. A moment later, she was rewarded with an answering wave from Jackie, who pointed at a row of bookshelves between the two. The blue mare nodded and began negotiating her way to the top of the book-bound maze. Half a dozen steps later, the inventor felt she had regained her balance and was moving at a quicker pace when a flash of pink caught her eye off to the side. Die? Is that you? She was not prepared for the scene of martial combat until she beheld as she moved closer. Hang on! I'm coming! Laura Pegaside knew that with Discord's no loud voices rule, Diane likely hadn't heard her, but she felt she had to say it any huff. The conflict was taking a turn for the worse, she thought. It's like they're reaching through fourth-dimensional space. I could see Spirit Chaos doing that, but Diane, no time to worry about it. I'm not losing any points today or any other day! By the time she made it to the two combatants in the self-help section, Dash knew it was already over. Watching her quiet friend shrink and inflate, folding in on herself and warping in ways clearly never could, she fell to her stomach. It was a relief to see her finally return to her normal form, even as she looked like she were being drained of color and tone. The final straw was the look of disappointment and outright boredom on Discord's face. Without thinking, she leapt for the shelf top into the Chronicles' head, her shriek of rage sounding like an angry balloon with a pinprick. The final straw was the look of disappointment and outright boredom on Discord's face. Without thinking, she leapt from the shelf top into the Chronicles' head, her shriek of rage sounding like an angry balloon with a pinprick. For his part, the spirit of disharmony never saw it coming. One moment, he was trying to figure out how to salvage anything from his waste of an encounter with not Pinky. Then, wham! Pointing to the head! His instinct was to curl up and try to listen to the impact. But he had contact on full contact, full spectrum point, grabbing onto his neck and refusing to let go. So the two of them ended up rolling like a wheel, only coming to rest when they finally crashed on a stack of Daring Do novels set up to commemorate the upcoming release of the 30th novel of the series. Oof! For the record, Miss Dash, that is not the right kind of rainbow to hit me with. You son of a Timberwolf! I saw what you did to Diane. I'm gonna... Who? Diane, 20-something mayor, about yay tall, pink coat, pink hair, kind of mellow, medical cutie mark. Oh, so that's what she calls herself. So what? Should I call you Danger then? I think Rainbow Caress is better. The advantage of performing martial arts, even in a relaxed form like TLG, is that when you really need to move, your body knows what to do with barely a thought. Dash found herself standing on her hind legs, forehooves extended, under her right, in a final stance of Pony tosses baseball. By the time she decided where she was going, they hit the trash talking amalgamation. The aforementioned was busy picking himself out of a pile of young adult novels. Ouch! I really mean that. Ow! We haven't even gotten to the serious discussion yet. Stop acting like you know us! Do you know, when Rare first told me about what happened to you, I actually felt bad for you? But you're a jerk. Doesn't make any of this okay, but I can see how you're making all this much worse, and I bet you don't even see it. Discard waggled a claw in admiration. One accusation of how horrible a monster I truly am at a time. I assume you came to that last show a little late, but let me make this clear to you. Your friend did that to herself. She directly rejected help from a source I never expected, and instead chose to take on a different perspective. That can't be the whole story. It never is. But in this case, nothing I have said is a lie, or even much of a twisting of events. What about the crazy bed space stuff? I couldn't do that to her if I wanted to. Really? Well, let me put it this way. If I were to bend and twist a pony like that, what you'd be with would not look like a pony. I still don't like you. None of us ever appreciate our creditors' danger. That was funny, I'll give you that. But you've never... Stupid language rules! Discord frowned. This is at least the second time I've seen one of your ponies stumble your choice of words. What are you doing? Rainbow Dad's eye decreased their chaos and shrugged. I can't see how telling you can make anything worse. One of the things we went over about dealing with you deafing types is to avoid using absolute terms. Stuff like never, always, and anything. Specifically, we're not supposed to give you anything that sounds like a challenge or the sort of thing a hero says in a story, and then comes to regret when somehow her words end up being ironically twisted to some horse apple of a situation. The Dread Conquest stared at her for so long that the pony didn't expect a reply of any kind. If you ponies are doing this on purpose, I am not amused. He paced, Hawes behind his back. It was Celestia, wasn't it? I knew she'd never keep her end. What are you saying about the princess? Rainbow bridled, ready to back in some kicking quest. You know what? It'll be easier to show you than tell you. Hold on a second. I think I hear the yoke. Discord snapped his fingers together. He and the spectrum over blue mare disappearing in a flash of light. They stood on the ground that didn't exist, in a place that wasn't there anymore, watching fillies and colts who had long since grown into adults. Everything had a faded hue. Rainbow Dash could see through herself. This is so far beyond weird that I can't even freak out. Cloudsdale's Young Flyers Summer Camp, circa 988 CE. Due to renovations in the main training grounds, the camp was moved to a temporary site near Canterlot in Ponyville. While there were a multitude of students this season, we were only concerned with 3 of them. Barvell, Fluttershy Posey, and Rainbow Danger Dash. It was like an out-of-pony experience, watching the 3 idiots pick on Fluttershy. How long has it been since any pony thought they could get away with doing that? Oh, right, a decade! How are you doing this? It's magic. I don't have to explain it. Put down the minigun! But he said it. He said those infernal words! Shh! The best part is coming up. Discord hunched over, crunching loudly from the bucket of popcorn he was holding. The race. The worst mistake of her life. The pale Pegasus signaled to start. That's his newest perspective, allowing her to see that she and Dumbo had managed to swirl the shy around and cause her to fall. She wanted to throw up. She wanted to scream. She wanted to dive after their filly right now. She continued to watch. Hey, is that Starlight Glimmer trying to unhatch Dash's shoe? And Nalin, C, and Twilight are having an epic magic duel. The 2 racers curved around the first turn. The colt, seeing that he was going to lose distance, knocked her younger self off course. This is when I pause and the nail... Something was wrong. All of Rainbow's shoes remained firmly on her hose. The filly gathered her strength and continued the race. A grin of focused competition plastered her muscle. Faster and faster she dived after the colt, reaching speeds that made her contrail visible as a Pegasus magic, and aerodynamics fought for supremacy. The mare's eyes reduced to pinpricks. Months of research, calculations, and experiments telling her what would happen next. Something that was impossible. No way! There is no way a filly can generate the wind power to... BOOM! A disc of rainbow-hued light exploded outward, washing over everything and leaving a trail of wonder behind it. That never... I don't even... The victorious Pegasus filly landed, proudly accepting the accolades of the other campers, taking the chance to show off her newly earned Cutie Mark. Shing! A white cloud emitting a tricolored lightning bolt. It even looked fast staying still. Discord leaned over the mare, who collapsed, sinking his head down level with hers. One thing. She let me change one thing, and it wouldn't make any difference. Can you guess what I picked? How could you... Do you mean Fluttershy was supposed to die? Oh, Your fine feathered friend is completely unharmed. Better than unharmed, in fact. For the first time in a very long time, she isn't afraid. Want a peek? Discord reached a paw an impossibly long distance to the ground, causing their viewpoint to warp to the middle of a forest clearing far below. The yellow Pegasus was ferreting animals, smiling with a serenity Rainbow had rarely seen on her. Help! I think this calls for a little rewind, don't you? The serpentine figure filled with nose on a small black box. Everything became blurred heroin in reverse. And when it stopped, the young Fluttershy hung frozen in the air, plunging earthward. When the pony didn't respond to his nonverbal cues, Discord picked Rainbow Dash up and carried her over to a point directly below the trajectory of the plummeting Pegasus. Knowing you, I think you'll want a detailed view of this next part. You'd certainly never believe me if I simply described it. Thoughts raced through her mind like a typhoon. She simultaneously felt like she was no longer in her body, that she was trapped in her own skull, unable to control her body. Time started again, and she watched the younger incarnation of her friend fall, be caught by a swarm of butterflies. There was nothing to snap. She was so far beyond anything that she could understand that it really didn't make a difference anymore. Somehow, this physical impossibility seemed right. Seemed like what should have happened. But that would mean... That's right. Your sacrifice. The injuries you suffered. The guilt and agony you felt. The horrifying embarrassment of flight training for special ponies you guilted her into. And the storm incident that again nearly cost her her life. None of it was necessary. It had no meaning. Discord placed a conciliatory paw on her shoulder, which she didn't try to shirk away. Heavy stuff, I know. But hey, it means that none of the sacrifices you've made since then to try and atone were necessary either. Hey, you're so far ahead of the game, you could stop expressing any altruistic behavior at all and still be karmically set for the rest of your life. What about the others? What happens to them without the cloud boom? Oh, are you sure you want to know? Please, I can't stand not knowing. Let me see here. The Rainbow led a confused Applejack back to her family farm, where she accepted a position of responsibility, becoming the cornerstone of the farm and a shining beacon of honesty and hard work. Diane was shocked out of her childhood depression by the same Rainboom, can you believe it, and became a champion of laughter and joy, quite literally able to bring a smile to the face of every pony, zebra, donkey, minotaur, and even yak she meets. Rarity discovered a huge cache of gemstones, and realized her childhood dream of becoming a famous designer of clothing. Her belief in dreams and beauties driving her to be as generous with her sister pony as she could. Oh, and there was something about the rainbow in her story, too. Twilight Sparkle was distracted in the middle of an important examination and discovered the immense reservoir of magical potential she had. Becoming Princess Celestia's special student and studying further and broader into the field of magic than any pony since Star Swirled and Bearded. Your counterpart. That's enough! Too much! Is this real? Are you going to trust me if I say it is? There have to be some things. Something that not even you would. She swallowed. Yes, whatever you say now, I'll believe. Just tell me. Is this really what would have happened if I hadn't known about Fireshine's fall? Yes. Victory wasn't as sweet as he expected. It tasted a whole lot like ass. In his plan, he was supposed to decide if her actions had no consequence, then she could do anything she wanted, and become the ultimate egotist. It would have been hilarious. This wasn't funny. It wasn't even mildly amusing. Kimmel! It was this way! I'm sure of it! Jackie spurred her friends, as they raced to reach where she had seen Rainbow Jazz, leap into conversation with the spirit of disharmony by herself. The fact that was the fastest way to confront was a swift walk that was tearing at her last nerves. It was like running through molasses. It was like a bad dream. 4 ponies piled into the cleared area, in time to see Discord reappear, holding a slate gray pony. Ignoring the advancing mares, he whispered something to the pony before setting her down. Rainbow? Verity choked out. The pony looked up at her, not out of curiosity or in recognition, but with a weary sense of obligation. She expressed with her entire being. She didn't say anything. Twilight glanced at Dance and away again. Clinical depression will affect 1 in 6 ponies at some point in their lives. Hug therapy has only proven to be approximately 30% effective. Stupid Discord! How's she supposed to learn from this if she's comatose? Diane gestured at herself in a grandiose manner. I don't turn ponies into stone. What the fuck ever? What you've left of her doesn't look much more useful than a paperweight. I can fix this. Once I'm in the undisputed power of this world, I can fix all of this. It's the victors who write history. Discord pulled library rules from the sign for thin air, running a call through the no running rule, and produced an ear-splitting claw on metal screens. Any pony who had been looking at him certainly was now. Hey, fruit pony, wanna race? Chapter 27, For Want of a War, Zeta. Words spoken, their eyes met. Challenge made and accepted. Jackie took off her hat, a cream Stetson with a simple leather band, placing it on Twilight's head, her eyes never leaving the Conquest. You mind looking after that for me, Twi? Wouldn't want to get dirty now. Despite the name, the 10-gallon hat will not, in fact, hold more than 3 parts of a water. She was speaking to no pony. To her. The artist pony's hoofbeats already fading into the distance. A dark gray Pegasus contemplated the pony before him, head literally in the clouds. Hey, Mac, that's not a good place to sleep. No reply. A tentative hoof tapped the unconscious pony. You okay? Blueberry and celery muffins. No, of course I'll try one. I'm not just hungry. The stallion's eyes popped open. Can't see! I'm blind. No, my head's stuck in a cloud. He shrieked, scrambling backward. I can't stand on clouds. Last I check. Oh dear, oh dear. He began frantically panning himself over. Feet, 4. Still hooves, still brown. Cutie Mark still thumbing in the face. Hello, little hourglass. The doctor took a deep breath, grasping a strain at his mane for examination. It was brown. Blast! Patting his head. No protrusions, certainly no hole. Turning his head around, he examined his back, to find 2 wings behaving as though they had every right to be here. Hello, you're new. Extra limbs, fascinating. Wonder if I need to learn how to fly, or is it seem so? Memories of a great Pegasus convinced him he needed lessons. Hold on. Lessons, Duffy, wings. What is that? Tip of the brain? The other Pegasus watched the brown stallion examining his own wings, as though seeing them for the first time. It was a shame, really, seeing a pony on the downward slope. Salt, alcohol, nettles. Didn't really matter what the guy was doing. Last night had messed him up. Poor kid probably didn't even remember his own name. Hey, man. I'm Thunder Dash. What's your name? What? Wait, that name. What is your name? Thunder began calculating the route to the nearest hospital. What? This coincidence? Which never is. And then there's just bloody ridiculous. What is your name? What was he going to do if this pony didn't want treatment? I don't dare say who. Laugh, if it did never stop. Maybe. Nope, can't use the doctor. Not so when I am. Might cause more complications. You can call me Time Turner. Something nagged at the back of his head. I will. Time for panic later. Pardon? It is vitally important that you tell me what day it is. Huh? It's Thursday. The date. May 16th. What's the due? Bipolar or something? This was like pulling teeth. What year? Come to think of it, do ponies have dentists? No. Focus, doctor. Man, it's 978. What is taking you to mess yourself up so bad? Cocaine mounted to the temporal lobe, most likely. Seems to be residual cyclic echo, implying a powerful source of temporal energy. What did hit me? He rubbed his abused noggin absently. Thunder sighed to himself. Whatever you say, Time Terror. Nice to meet you in any case. Now to assess just how messed up this stallion was. You know where you are? How about the fuck yes? Struck him as funny, so he laughed. Great. Look, come with me. I'll get you a cup of coffee and see about getting your hose on the clouds. Fantastic! So where are we? Cloudsdale. Cloudsdale. I'll send Cloudsdale. The other Pegasus nodded slowly. Steady on. 978 CE. Almost a year before Derby attends flight class. Was ended with, and last I remember is, well then. No TARDIS, no backup, only the contents of his saddlebags. Well, that and 14 years worth of time. Do I actually have time to plan for once? Fantastic! Now if I only had a clue what to plan for. This was going to require a great deal of thinking. He glanced up at, mister, Hey, man. Mister, Dazzle's my father. You dig? You can just call me Thunder. Call you Thunder? Oh, I like that. Then, Thunder. I'll thank you for your help. I can take it from here. Oh, no, you don't. Sonny never let me hear the end of it if I didn't see you straight. Thunder began heading off. The brown Pegasus trotted after. I'm sorry, I don't follow. Just come with me. Time. My place isn't too far from here. You from Huffington? Now, why would he... Oh, right, the accent. A bit further than that. As he began trying, the doctor was able to feel the minor physical differences between his new form and the last. What does that leave me? I've never regenerated to a form so similar to my last one before. Well, except that one last time, and that took preparations. He had time. At the same time, he had no time at all. Typical. Saki! Wait! Randy inhaled, and held, and released her breath. Good news! I found one of them before Discord got his claws in her. Bad news, he just tricked her into chasing him. Consultation. Now I know for sure that his eccentric rules are reversible. Somebody was talking. In Clueless? That was Diane. Verity couldn't see her. Twilight was looking at something above. The white pony leapt to her immediate left, struggling to her host. She heard water splashing loudly. Glancing up, she saw the great pink pony sitting precariously on top of a ladder, where Rarity had just been standing, empty bucket in her hoof, gripping her last few drops of water. They looked at each other for a few moments. Right, so just Clueless. What next, a furless leader? The completely grayed out pony spoke. Doesn't matter. Everything we do is pointless. We're just pawns. Then, I hardly feel that is a correct assessment, darling. Personally, I think of myself as a queen. Diane sniggered. The queen's still a piece on the board. It can be sacrificed if the game calls for it. The green pony mumbled. There are approximately 1,326 variants of Culsproft's gambit that involve the sacrifice of the queen to achieve victory. Only 2 of them involve a ball of string. Nobody asked the question that begged. Das, what did he do to you? The worst thing he possibly could. He showed me the truth. The so-called electronic lie detector is considered to have a reliability rate of less than 60%. It's no longer permissible evidence in court of law. Right off the faded plum pony. Rarity wheeled to address the assembled mass of pony. All of you, listen to me. We are not toons. We are our own ponies. She turned back to Rainbow Das, who was trying to nest in a pile of books. Please, just leave me alone. She curled up tighter. I neither have the inclination to indulge you, nor the opposite, considering that we are still somewhat in a hurry. I can't help you. Nothing I do matters. I do not have time for this! Randy resisted the urge to slap a hoof to face. Then he had an idea, likely an evil one. It must be, it seems, too much like fun. Diane, I need you to carry Rainbow. Why should I? Questioned and requested. Because she doesn't want you to. And you know her moaning and complaining will irritate me further. The pink pony glared at the white one for another long moment, before she walked very deliberately over, picked up the gray-valve former Pegasus. This is going to cost you. That is one of the few things in this life I do not doubt. In any case, we are going now. They ran and ran, past the reference section. Supernaturals, Elements of Harmony, Reference Guide, 101 card games for fun and profit. Jackie left a pile of displaced dictionaries deposited by Discord. Merriam Webster, the Ox Pony Equestrian Dictionary, and Double Texas Guide to Crosswords. A lasso around the horse statue helped the orange pony turn a sharp corner as they passed through the foals facing section. Reminds me, I won't pick up a copy of The Wizard of OCs for Blue. Where do they still have the little trained engineer that could? Gaining a little ground, she made a dive for her target serpentine tail, missing both her mark and the flock of ornithology books that flew by her former head height. Hell in the height is that not charismatic! Do you mean to tell me you don't know the difference between magic and chaos? What are they teaching you in school these days? Discord sucked in his teeth at disapproval. It's all invisible forces that ain't obvious to outsiders. Honestly, it just says that magic. You wouldn't feel that way about the differences between electromagnetism and nuclear fusion. Believe me. Hey, what now? wrong century. Never you mind. He raised his paw and brushed the spot of lint from his chest. The point is, I'm winning. The orange pony's brow furrowed. Don't don't. How do you figure that? Dang it! Discord turned his head momentarily. Then better to hide his grin until he could control it. Turning back, he snaked his head down next to Jackie's, grinning an alligator's conspiratorial smile, and whispered, Because I'm catching up to you. The earth pony scrambled backward, unable to name the feeling of revulsion, but also unable to accept it. What the hell's wrong with you? Let's down Rock Corvey! The Chronicles stretched his neck back into the air, dropping all pretense of humor or superiority. His aspect no longer showed any of the sneering confidence or the jovial condescension that had been his hallmark. In fact, he looked similar to what he had been when he delivered the broken rainbow No. You don't win that easy! It was back. The feeling that every step she took doubled the weight she carried. That the earth was going to swallow her whole. So he was struck by how many memories of the library housed of her, walking Apple Bloom and her friends to the story hour, taking Granny to see Rarity for an interview about the family's historical ties to Ponyville, the times when she was just a filly, her pa had taken her to hear stories or see a puppet show. She was wrapped in a chain of memories, unable to breathe for every pony's expectations of her, crushed by rules and routes. The spirit of disharmony watched the orange pony run, shaking his head. Every which way but lose, my little pony. You want me to do now what, Spiky? Come on, it's really simple. Discord the Demon of Disharmony is in the library. Rarity is fighting him, trying to get back those necklace thingies. His grandmother, a term he had been instructed to never, ever, ever address her by, nodded, but her skeptical frown remained. Soon enough, and I know my little girl will defeat that harness Elmosaurus. You're Chronicles, Mom, Sweet corrected her mother. Spike shot his aunt a look of gratitude. And I think what she's trying to ask is, what does any of this got to do with Clarity's cooking? Spike resisted the urge to put his paw to his face. Rarity's last run-in with Trixie had left a very sour melodrama. Because he's been running around now for like a day and a half. I don't know if she'll be able to defeat Discord for good or not. If she doesn't, she's going to be really tired. Every pony nodded. So, the best thing any of us can do for her is to have coffee ready and waiting for her whenever she gets out of that library. Sweetbell looked up. I sprang. Oh, well maybe I could. No! The baby dragon slapped his hands over his mouth, but the word was already out. I mean, I need you to help me, make a checklist. He smiled. Well, he bared his teeth in a generally friendly manner. The filly turned her head to focus her eyes directly on him. Since when did you make a list? Since I helped Twilight Sparkle survey every pony's special talent. That was while you and the Crusaders of Rarity met those stupid dogs. They're not stupid. Well, they're not very stupid. They're mostly funny. I don't think they can look after themselves very well. This wasn't the most important part. And one experience was enough to convince you that lists were helpful? Spike scratched the back of his head. I don't know. It just felt right. I know Rarity keeps track of everything in her head, but I can't do that yet. I don't know if I'll ever be that good at memorizing stuff. But going around, writing stuff down, it just felt natural. He shrugged. Are you sure you just don't want to spend time with Twilight? Huh? She's okay, I guess, if you like plants and dirt and junk. I'm more at home around books, really. Well, I can see living in a small cottage near Everfree, studying books about herbology, and Spike's attention drifted. Sweet grinned. Taking care of small winged creatures alongside a certain pink pony. And Spike was in the here and now. What? I didn't say that! Exactly. Of all the things pony science didn't know about dragons, why they would have a visible blast through the scales, capable of withstanding lava baths, was one that irked him at the moment. His aunt patted him on the head good-naturedly. Don't worry. I think it's cute that you have a crush. I'll go get Apple Bloom. You grab the coffee and meet us at Flashworks. No big scaly monster messes with my sister. It gets away with it! They paused long enough for a claw hoof and headed off with their age in their eyes. She ran and ran, passing through the children's fiction section area again. She remembered when Scootaloo had volunteered Rainbow Dash to read at the monthly library story time. Rainbow had railed against the book to be read, daring do in the Octarine staff. But It was for Foles, so she gave in eventually. Read it, did the voices for all the characters, the whole works, and ended up loving every minute of it. A Pegasus who can't fly half the time has to make do with her wits and whatever tools she can cobble together. Hey, why wouldn't Rainbow Dash identify with her? That was when she started to get interested in performances. Now she had plans to. A ladder clattered across her path. Was the orange point easily cleared? Let! The best you got this cord! Just a little wake-up call. You were drifting. I'm a little hurt that something can distract you from the glory of moi. He wore a loud floral print shirt and was carrying an ugly yellow suitcase with green floral print. So, off for adventure are we? Where to this time? Perhaps south to the swamps of Chitote to find a lost temple devoid of the underworld, or north to Stalingrad in the ice fields, where the proud Crystal Empire once stood. His audience failed to rise to the bait. I guess you could just head west. Y'all still talking back there? Please excuse me if I'm mistaken, my dear, but I believe that you-all is a abbreviation of you-all, which would only apply when referring to a grip. She stopped to glare at him, almost. You telling me how to talk now? That's a laugh. This will be a first. The serpentine figure reeled his arms as he came to a sudden stop. Come again. I said, you ain't funny. You think you are, but you ain't. You wound me, element of humor. His tone did not match his words. Come on. When's the last time someone else laughed at one of your jokes? I'll have you know I once had the August pony of jade and sixes. Literally or figuratively. Discord crossed his arms. I don't see what that has to do with anything. You are proving my point. I'm not going to give you a big speech about how you could stop all this right now, and we could work out a peaceful solution like the other girls probably have. There's no point. If you want that, you do it. You got too much pride to admit you're lonely. Oh, you speak from a position of authority? Yeah, I'll work it out of you. Listen, it calls me to admit. I think I might understand you because in a lot of ways, I like you. Jacqueline, are you offering me your friendship? I was sure to like one of those multicolored tree-climbing frogs. Well, that ended quickly. I'm not done. You weren't being serious. She paused. Why so? Whatever you're about to say, no pony in this world would understand. So you hush a minute. Jackie pursed her lips and exhaled, took a deep breath, and realized he was stalling. Well, I'm not the pony most familiar with the truth. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I lie. More like I'll apply stuff. Stress the whole truth. Sometimes only mention part of what is true. So that sounds different. Discord threw his hands over his ears, his mouth wide O. The effect was spoiled when he waggled his eyebrows. Land sakes, I do declare, you must be the most desirable pony of foul flight. He dropped his head, returning Skaggy's scowl. This personal confessor stuff is boring. Go big or go home, if you can figure out where that is. The pony looked at the Chronicles over. Lips curled down and eyebrows furrowed. So, you just let me go? I don't see the angle. I haven't been keeping you here. If you want to leave, go. I've already defeated half of your crew. You have nothing left to threaten me with. His muzzle slowly curled to a smile. But I do have one question for you, before you toddle off into the sunset. Despite his statement, he remained silent. Bait the line, toss it in. Jackie struggled herself, but it had to be asked. Well, hook, line, and sinker. Isn't it time to stop running? Jackie looked at him, looked at the shells around him, and poignantly, and back at the lack of motion of hoofs. What the hell are you talking about? It's so tiring, isn't it? Well, the pony found she was gritting her teeth. Lying. Jackie opened her mouth to reply. Discord cut her off with a chopping gesture. To yourself. You claim to be like me. But I know all about myself. He leaned perilously close to Yora's mare. I made my decision about personal freedom and obligation. You, well, you want to have your cake and eat it too, and claim you were never in the kitchen. I don't follow. No, you really don't you? Let me make this simple. You want to be too many ponies. The faithful daughter and sister who looks after the family. the hard-working orchard grower, the traveling trickster, the devoted friend, defender of the realm, simple country bumpkin, smartest mayor in the room, peacemaker, negotiator, instigator, therapist, card sharp, road ranger, teammate. Discord waved his paw, returned it to the proper number of distance. Diane thought she had a head full of floating ponies. Let me get this straight. The embodiment of chaos is telling me I'm too random? Snarked the pony. Oh no, you're hardly random at all. Everything you do follows one pattern. It requires no investment on your part and has an obvious escape route. All that running, always to bail. I run toward legs too! Hold on, you're falling into his argument. Don't try to defend that's giving his claims validity. That does prove my point. What you're running from. He folded his paws together. My dear, the only thing you have ever been afraid of is yourself. Yours Mayor barked with laughter. That's the best you got? Really? See, I've known that for years. Even except this last year when I fought with Twa. She shrugged. So what? The Declines folded his arms, dropping a smile. So, when are you going to tell Applebloom the real reason you left all those years ago? Jackie's blood felt as though it had been turned to ice. Well, I mean... Discard held up a paw to ward off excuses. Don't bother. I've been watching you. Don't feel special. I've been watching every pony. Not much else to do when you spend a millennium as a chunk of stone. You were conscious the whole time? Yep. Discard took a step back, placing a paw on his chest. What? Now you care? Don't feel bad. All of us miscreants got the same treatment. Even Celestia's precious little sister got a 1,000-year cooling-off period wandering the moon. So you had no choice. None of y'all gave her any other choice. Each and every one of y'all, think of yourselves, not how much any of your actions might be hurting folk who hadn't done anything to deserve... Yes, go on. Tell me how horrible and terribly irresponsible I am. You sound like you're speaking from a possessive experience there. See something familiar? Eh? I'm nothing like you! Tears threatened to make an appearance. You were pretty quick to claim the mantle a moment ago. See, this is how you do it, isn't it? Oh, I'm sure every pony has things they're ashamed of. Things they crack like how they like to think of themselves. Stop it. Stop this rant now. Words spilled from her in a torrent. Because we've all got to tell ourselves we're good ponies in the end, right? Everyone has to be able to sleep at the end of their day. Has to look at themselves in the mirror when they wake. Has to keep going through the motions of every single day. Even when they know nothing will get better. They're saying I could taste whatever I want. It's a saying that I won't even bother. And there was ever a time in my life just to shut my mouth. We're just too afraid of losing what little we got left. Because we're so terrible that we need to change. What right do we have to hope for something better? Oh, good grief. Are you going to be as self-pitying as Rainbow Dash? Got to work through this. The game you play. Only presented part of a puzzle, counting on us to fill in the pieces with our own fears. Got a taste of that before. Don't fuss facing it. Breathe, inhale, exhale. So what you're saying is, I'm not providing enough of a challenge? Really? Maybe you're just more self-destructive than Diane. His grin deepened into a sneer as Jackie's face fell. Talents accepted. Your sister. Jackie did her best not to roll her eyes. My sister what? I already asked you. Have you told her why you left? Of course I ain't told her why I left. I was a child. I wasn't thinking straight. But that's my failure. She won't ever hear that from me. Lucky thing I'm not the element of Mousy. Why are you laughing? You wouldn't get it. The chaos spirit doubled over. Diaphragm spasming and chuckles. Okay. Are you sure you won't buzz at that one? It gets a whole lot worse from here on in. Don't say I ever warned you. Right now, I'd buck your full head in if I was pretty sure you could wave your hoof and restore it. Oh, for pony. Does he know it's what's on the inside that counts? Discord chuckled, passing his eagle claw through one ear and out the other of his head. Deep inside, I know that it's not what you think of yourself that terrifies you. It isn't any sense of personal guilt that haunts your sleep. And you shoulder your own doubts, about as well as can be expected of a pastel miniature horse. No, an extrovert like you has sublimated all of her personal anxieties. There is an audible pop as he extracted his arm. When I said you are afraid of yourself, I meant you're afraid of what others must think of you. What's the old saying? Familiarity breeds contempt. He wrapped an arm around the rigidly standing pony, putting his head next to hers in a conspiratorial pose. You know, deep down, that none of them take you seriously. You tell yourself you don't want to be a burden, but what you really mean is that you don't want to find out. Don't want to hear that they're tired of you, disappointed, hurt, or just never cared in the first place. The element of laughter. Please! You were the closest warm body, and you know they all know it. The one thing they need for you is to wear a piece of jewelry. A tremor ran through the pony. Oh, and you mentioned in Twilight's incredibly generous gift to you. But what does that gift do? It gets you out of her maid more often. You show up for some occasional cheap labor, and to keep her adopted family from worrying that you're dead. Because it must have been so embarrassing for them to not know where you were for years and years. The founding family of the Apple clan, whose heir threw the family traditions to the wind. The last nail in the coffin will be the day you die, alone, in an unmapped ditch, somewhere in the back of beyond. No pony will know. They won't even think to look for you until long after the fact. Because, well, that's just Jackie. Discord turned the fading pony to face him. Where are your words now? You can't speak for any pony else. Oh, you can get inside their heads. Guess what they'll do? Even outsmart them sometimes. But in the end, you can't touch their hearts. In your own, you know that it must be because they're all just waiting for you to go away again. A tear rolled down her tan-pale cheek. There, now that you're going to say you're like me. Well, not nearly as handsome, but that's no reason to have such a long face. The serpentine spirit considered the pallid pony for a moment, moving forward. Whenever life's ladder takes you down a wrong, remember that anything too stupid is too said song. Discord was already walking away, as Jackie's eyes began to swirl in a muddy mixture of colors. See you next time, cow pony. They rounded the corner, and there she was. Orange looks quite brown when grayed, and ash blonde manes aren't unheard of. Rarity held out the tiniest bit of hope that this was simply a hapless patron who had been trapped inside when the hullabaloo started. But she had to know for sure. Jackie, is that you? I hate to say it, but it's probably mine. Rising to her hose, the pony in question retrieved her head from the purplish formal unicorn's head. There are over 348 varietals of apples raised in the nation of Equestria alone, not including pear apple hybrids. Rainbow lifted her head slightly. Oh, hi, Jackie. You look different. Change your mane. Diane looked at the mare, and laughed so hard she fell over, dropping her pony pern in the process, rocked by further laughter. Rarity looked at her friends, at what had happened to them. I'm not winning this. Not the way I'm going. There must be a better way to handle this. I've got to stop. I've raced around and lost 4 friends in the process. Girls, I'm so sorry I wasn't able to help you. I'm not sure I could do this without you. Please, if there's anything left of you, please help me figure out how we can get to Featherside before Discord does. The common method of deep frying hay, known as French fries, in fact, did not originate in France, where they were known as chips. Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear a word of what they're saying. They're just echoes of my mind. Nothing matters. It won't work. One question. Do you want to save your friends or have a shot at Discord? That's a ridiculous question, Diane. I intend to have both. While the phrase, there is no I in team, is technically correct, it is a logical fallacy, because there are an M and an E in that word. But if you could only do one. What are you trying to tell me? Verity strove to keep an even tone, though she was forgetting why to bother. I know where the elements are. When Dipscord is done with Captain Heroic, he's going to throw the elements into a maelstrom that will scatter, either across the world or through time. Maybe through time, then across the world. she tapped her chin, considering the matter. In any case, by that point, it would be pretty much impossible to get them back. Right now, we had time to get there and stop him, maybe. Are you asking me to choose between every pony and Fluttershy? Are you seriously suggesting I abandon the element of loyalty? It would have been funny if it was completely unfunny. You prance around like you make the big decisions. Well, here's your chance, assistant professor. The dull pink pony sneered. Now you'll see just how pointless this is. You'll learn there are circumstances that cannot be won. Rarity hung her head. Otherwise her grin would have been obvious. She raised her head high. What did I just tell you? What? When? Diane took a step back. This was not an expected response. I said I would have both. As I live and breathe, I will not choose. And I don't have to. Even broken, you are all the best team I could ever wish for. Thank you, Diane. What? I'm not helping you. I'm being horrible. Well, you're doing a terrible job. Give it up. Rarity turned to Jackie. I got to ramble. I got to move on. I got to walk away my blues. Jackie pointed at the door. Excellent. I'll take you a while for you to take around. Wait, it's to make copies. So find them first. If this world belongs to all of us, then I think it's time the rest of them stop pulling their weight. This can work. There's still a chance. Diane, you're with me. Twilight, you can come too. The number three is the first non-even prime number. The minimum number of points required to define a plane. Daz rolled her eyes towards the erstwhile unicorn. Aren't you forgetting one? It's prime. The number 1, in fact, is classified as its own category number, second only to 0 in its uniqueness. Girls, this is all fascinating, but it can wait till later. Rainbow, you're going with Jackie, and you are going to walk. It won't make a difference. Good. Then you might as well do it as not. Stand up. Rarity's tone bypassed the rational part of Daz's brain, triggering some latent sense of self-preservation. The white pony allowed herself a smile. It wasn't quite the royal Canterlot of voice of legend, but she had to figure out a method of advanced telekinesis to triple the force of her voice. In fact, all 4 of the ponies around her were standing at attention. Careful, do not get used to that. We are not going to replace one tyranny with another, no matter how much nice it would have ponies really listen for once. The cow pony leaned over towards Anne. Do you see what I see? Yeah, I'm not going to point it out. She'll have to work out that one on her own. No more freebies. The other earth pony grumbled.